Okay, hi, Miss Velasquez. How are you?
Hello, how are you?
Awesome. So, I'm just going to ask you a few questions. I know you're ESL certified. So, how well prepared do you feel to teach ELLs, English Language Learners?
I think I'm very competent as far as teaching ESL students because I was an ESL student when I came to the United States. And also, when you teach content, you learn that you have to front load the vocabulary to teach all of your students that are ELL.
Awesome. Did you complete a traditional program or alternative certification?
I went through alternative certification,
Okay,
Quality Act.
awesome. What can the school district do to help you meet the needs of ELLs?
Well, I'm in a bilingual program, so we have a department that helps with, they come and they check to see that you're following the procedures. And if you have questions as far as how to use the resources or how to get extra resources, then you are always free to ask your coach. And if she does not have the answer, then you can go to the bilingual department.
How did you join that bilingual?
Department.
Mm-hmm.
You don't join, you're automatically in the bilingual department if you're a bilingual teacher.
Oh,
So it's not by choice, it's not voluntary, you're part of the bilingual program.
that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
What other things do they help you with?
Okay, so they have trainings. In Grand Prairie ISD, we follow what is called the Gomez and Gomez model. So for you to be well trained in that program, you have to go through lengthy trainings. I think the last one I attended was 3 days, where the actual person who developed the plan was there to do to tell us how to do it, and they take you step by step. Language of the day, how to do language of the day. I already said that one. Vocabulary, how to integrate specialized vocabulary enrichment, and so on.
Okay, awesome. And I know I say awesome a lot. In your opinion, what are the characteristics of effective ELL programs, and do these correlate with characteristics outlined in? Never mind, that's for me. In your opinion, what are the characteristics of effective ELL programs?
Okay, so for me, the characteristics of a good ESL program or a good program would be to get to know your students. Okay, so that's the first and foremost. Second of all, know that because they're language learners, it doesn't mean that they don't know the content. So some teachers equate like, okay, so the student doesn't speak English, he must be not so smart, but that's not true. So you have to be able to scaffold the vocabulary for the student to understand the concept. And sometimes what we get is kids from other countries that they understand the content, but they cannot do the work because of the vocabulary. If that's the case, then you as a teacher have to show your students the tools available for them, such as vocabulary, visual aids. You make them a most common word list and so on.
Oh, okay, cool. How many languages are represented in your classroom?
Two.
Two, Spanish and English.
Yes, Spanish and English.
Have you ever done any more than
No,
just two?
no. There are other campuses that have students. I think the Travis language elementary school, I think they have more than Spanish and English.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm just fluent in English and Spanish.
Would you ever do more than two? Even though I know you. So does somebody have to be fluent in order to be in
If you are in a bilingual program, you have to be fluent in that in that language.
Okay.
Right. So then, if I'm in a general ed, all I would have to be is ESL certified to help a English language learner. So I could have, if I'm in a general classroom, I could have someone from Nepal, and I would help him out not by translating, but by doing the same things that I would do for a Spanish speaker. Visual aids, vocabulary, dictionaries, pictures, everything that you would do for any other student.
Okay. And in what ways are you providing effective instruction for ELs in your classroom?
Oh my goodness, in what ways? Okay, so every day my students are using, for word study, we're using the vocabulary that's available in the iPads. Every day they get to use the dictionaries for math.
Okay.
So let's say we're working through a word problem, right? And we say the word, they may encounter the word such as earnings. Earnings is not a common word. So then I have to talk about it, I have to give examples, I may show some pictures, and so visual aids, vocabulary, expanding on vocabulary.
Is that more time consuming than like a regular gen ed classroom because you have to explain that?
Yes, it's a little bit more time consuming, but I think that if other teachers apply it, even in a general classroom,
Mm-hmm.
I think it works because you don't know the extent to the vocabulary the students know.
Mm-hmm.
So even though I do it for my bilingual kids, I still would do it for general ed, even though it takes a little bit longer.
Okay. And how do you communicate with parents who don't speak English? Well, I know you're bilingual.
Right. Well, because I only work with the Spanish population,
Mm-hmm.
so with Hispanic, and they're Spanish speakers, so I'm fluent in Spanish, so that's not an issue. But I know for other teachers that are not fluent in Spanish, they may ask me to translate
Mm-hmm.
another teacher or another paraprofessional. You would use your colleagues around your campus. You wouldn't use like your child or
Google Translate.
or who would. You may, but that's kind of not good.
Okay. So I'll be in my own classroom next fall.
Okay.
What recommendations do you have to help me prepare to teach ELLs?
Okay, so my question to you would be, are you going to be in a general ed classroom, or are you going to be bilingual?
Bilingual.
Bilingual, okay, so if you're not a native Spanish speaker, meaning you were born here and your parents taught you Spanish, but you haven't had formal Spanish training, I would get books
Mm-hmm.
to read in Spanish.
Okay.
I would write essays, write to your parents, write to somebody in Spanish. Communicate as much as you can.
Okay.
Because in 5th grade, the vocabulary that we use, it's not the one that are used out there in the streets. Like it's formal, and you have to know the language.
Okay.
Okay, so
That's
that's
good.
my
That's very good. I have to get on it.
yes. That's my hint.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Velasquez.
Oh, you're welcome.